Good evening, I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. The election of 2016, the results are still coming in within these last hours. New Hampshire is declared for the Democratic candidate Clinton. And Michigan, still no official result in Michigan, although the Republican candidate Trump is leading handily by, I'd say, landslide Trump, 13,000 votes. It was a very close election in New Hampshire, a very close election in Michigan, less so in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. We're going to concentrate on Michigan because there was the final scene of the Trump campaign 2016, a late-night rally. They changed their plans. They went in at the end. What did they see in Michigan? Who is it that voted for Trump in Michigan, especially in the Detroit area where all the votes are? And who is it who refused to vote for Hillary Clinton after having committed to the Obama success in 08 and 12? Thaddeus McCotter, WJR, the great voice of the Great Lakes. This is Michigan. And David Drucker of the Washington Examiner. John Fund of the National Review Online. Gentlemen, a very good evening to you. That was the week that was. But now, to understand the headlines for these next 4 years, Michigan. Thaddeus, who voted for Trump that was a surprise to the Democrats? Who, among the Democrats, refused to vote for Clinton? Good evening to you.
Good evening, John. You mentioned Macomb County, which is one of Michigan's three most populous counties. Wayne County, which has Detroit, Macomb, and then Oakland County, which is more usually Republican. But Macomb County was the home of the Reagan Democrat, the culturally conservative, pro-life, pro-gun, anti-tax, small government type of Democrat. And Bill Clinton would have been, put it this way, would have been their ideal president. But over time, what we've seen with stagnating wages, especially amongst the working and middle class, is you've seen an angst and an anger and a sense that you have been left out of a system that does not care about you, that the cross currents of globalization are leading to lesser opportunities for yourself and for your children. And that's an anger. It's like the era of good feeling. They felt that there was really one party in Washington and it did not represent them. And I think that those votes, especially in Macomb County, that ordinarily will default Democrat were just fed up with the existing system and saw Hillary Clinton as a representative of the system, and Donald Trump is someone who would at least shake it up. Now, with Michigan's results, one of the key things is tens of thousands of people skipped the presidential ballot itself. And I would think that if you ever can't break it down, but I would think that a lot of those were Democrats. I think that they're two that I've said before is that when you're looking at making history with the first female president, I think a lot of women, not African-American women who voted for Hillary very heavily, but a lot of women were very chary about making Hillary Clinton the first American president. She had a problem with that, whereas Mr. Obama, I think clearly people were happy to see him be the first African-American president. He served well. He handled the office, even if you disagreed with his policies. But I don't think Mrs. Clinton, with her problems, as John Fund and David Drucker have reported for months, she caused angst amongst that. Do you want this to be the lady in the history books that broke the glass ceiling? And I think that out of those 110,000 votes and out of other votes that were cast, I think that, especially with independent women and Democratic-leaning women, is that was a deal breaker, that she was not going to be the first.
David, is it Trump's success in Macomb County? I note that he won at 53 to 42 when in 2012 Barack Obama won at 51-49. So it was a flip, a total flip. Is this Trump's success in Macomb County, or is this Clinton's failure? Good evening to you, David.
Good evening, John. Look, I think it's a little of both. I mean, you can't say that the guy who won doesn't deserve credit for his victory. I mean, he had a message that was pretty consistent throughout the campaign, and he did a better job. He sold his message better than she sold hers. I do think it's fair to say that Clinton had a number of flaws that combined for her, mostly surprising loss last week, and particularly in Michigan, in Wisconsin. The interesting thing is that if we recall, Hillary Clinton's first joint rally with Barack Obama, president, was supposed to be in Green Bay, Wisconsin, way back late June, early July, if I'm getting my timing correctly. And then there was a terrorist attack. They had to cancel that rally. Hillary Clinton never went back to that part of the Midwest went back. She just ended up never going. The first rally with Obama ended up being rescheduled for North Carolina. Hillary Clinton sent some surrogates there time and again, but never went back until the very end when Michigan was in trouble. And I think that ultimately her campaign, and many of us who analyzed it, miscalculated, assuming that she would hold on to much of the white vote that delivered for Obama, and that her problems, such as they weren't going to end up doing her in. And she calculated wrong, and it allowed Trump, who, despite being the winner, is still a very flawed candidate, to do much better than her in areas that a lot of people thought he just couldn't deliver in.
John, here's the numbers. In 2012, Barack Obama, 207,000. Mitt Romney, 191,000 in Macomb County. In 2016, Donald J. Trump, 224,000. Hillary Clinton, 176,000. Complete flip, but a rush to Trump. What is it about Trump that made him attractive, that they took the leap? Is it he was none of the above? Is that it, John? This is voting for change, other, we don't care about his resume.
Well, three issues stand out. One is Michigan has long been battered by the winds of industrial competition around the world. Trump had a different message on trade than almost any candidate in recent memory. Also, of course, you have immigration. You have also respect for America as a nation and a desire to see American power projected overseas and to be respected. He was a patriot, and people recognize that. And the third was Michigan has been forgotten, and so many candidates, as David and I think others have said, have ignored it. Trump visited it, he emphasized it, and he connected with people on a personal level.
Thaddeus, you have a question for our guest, please.
Yes, gentlemen. What are some of the things in the first 100 days of the Trump administration he has to do to keep those voters on board with him? Say the people that felt they were left behind or ignored, that took a chance with him. What are some of the things he has to do to make sure that he shows them that they made the right decision?
David?
Well, that's a good question. I think part of that depends on whether or not voters really care what Trump does or not, or whether they'll be happy just by the fact that they sent him here as a big middle finger to what they think is a failing system. The Republicans have obviously, along with Trump, promised to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. Trump has pledged to move quickly on things like immigration and jobs, tax reform. There's only so much that you can do in the first 100 days in the modern era, because presidents of either party, they don't get 100-day honeymoons anymore where the Congress just says, okay, we're going to work together to pretty much let you, get something big done or a couple of medium-sized things done. Those days are over. So Republicans have control of both chambers. They're not going to have any excuses. I think that probably to give the people that voted for Trump a sense that he's delivering, they need to pick some sort of medium-sized, things that are deliverable within that short period of time, other than these other things, which are just going to take, up to a year to do when you look at the committee process and everything that goes into the intricacies of tax reform and health care reform, and try and deliver those quickly. Obviously, the president-elect, once he's inaugurated, will start with executive orders, rescinding Obama, executive orders, implementing his own. And look, I think his voters are going to give him time. I mean, I think Trump has a year, possibly a year and a half, to start delivering because of the loyalty of his base and the reasons why he was sent to Washington.
John, 224,000 people in Macomb County voted for Trump. What are they waiting for?
Gridlock to be broken, the sense that people are finally working on their behalf rather than the behalf of special interests, or just simply to have a better feathered nest in Washington. I think that David is largely right, but I think tax reform is going to happen faster than he says. It's very complex. The lobbyists will be there, but there will be enormous pressure to pass tax reform, reduce taxes on corporations, bring back foreign capital that's been trapped overseas, increase the personal deduction, simplify the tax code. I think we're going to see tax reform, and I think we're going to see it before summer.
John Funn, David Drucker, Thaddeus McCotter, looking at Macomb County, one county in Michigan. Less than 12,000 votes separated the two candidates in Michigan, and there are many more than that, one that to show for Trump over Clinton in Macomb County. So that is the county that persuaded everyone that Donald J. Trump has a message for a county that went Obama twice, heavily. When we come back, the Democrats look to be in disarray. I know it's odd. They were organized just a week ago, but disarray, what does it look like? What does it promise? I'm John Batchelor.